Hey guys, so today I'm showing you how to make this beautiful dinner here. So we're making herb mashed potatoes with garlic, asparagus, and pan-seared steak. So the steak, I pan-seared it with some fresh herbs, and type of steak I'm using today is a piece of New York strip steak. So yeah, let's get started with this recipe. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is start making the mashed potatoes, and the first step in making it is to make the herb infused milk. So in a pot over medium heat, I added in my milk, and then to that you're gonna add in all of your fresh herbs. The herbs I'm using today is fresh oregano, rosemary, and thyme. So you're gonna put it in the pot and let the milk come to a slow boil. Once it starts simmering, you're gonna turn off the milk because you don't want the milk to boil, and you're gonna cover the pot and let that sit with the herbs in it and until you're ready to use it. Okay, so once we prepare the milk, we're gonna cut our potatoes. First I peel them, and then I'm cutting them into quarters, and then we're gonna put them in a pot with water and put it to boil, and we're gonna let it boil until it's soft, and you want it to be very soft enough that it's easy to mash. Okay, and now that our potatoes is going to be boiling, we're gonna start preparing our steak. So this is my piece of steak here, and all I'm doing is seasoning both sides of the steak, and I'm seasoning it with some salt, black pepper. I'm going to use a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of paprika. So I'm rubbing that onto both sides of the steak, and then we're gonna get ready to cook it. So in a hot pot, I added in a few tablespoons of butter, and then I'm gonna add in some herbs. So I'm adding in some rosemary, fresh thyme, and a few cloves of garlic. Now with the garlic, all I did was I just crushed them. I didn't cut. You don't want to chop up the garlic or anything, so all I did was 1 pound just to crush them a little bit, and you're gonna add them into the pot so that they can start releasing the flavor. But do not chop up the garlic because you don't want pieces of garlic in your steak. So once you add in your herbs, you're gonna next add in the piece of steak. Okay, so my heat is on medium heat, and you're gonna let the steak cook on both sides. I let my steak cook for about 4 minutes on each side, 4 to 5 minutes. You let it cook for depending on how you like to eat your steak. So if you like to eat your steak rare, you would leave it for less, for about 2 minutes on each side. If you like your steak well done, you would leave it for about 5 to 6 minutes on each side. So it all depends on your preference, and you want to try and only flip the steak once. So just leave it, let it cook for the appropriate time on one side, and once you see it start searing and turning brown on the sides, then you will flip it to the other side. And while it's cooking, I like to just pour the butter on top of the steak while it's cooking, just to add that herb and all that good butter flavor on top of the steak also, just to help it out a little bit. Once it's finished cooking on both sides for the appropriate time, that is it, guys. That is it for this steak recipe. It tasted so good, it came out so delicious, and it was all because of the good seasonings I added to it. So yeah. All right, so back to our mashed potatoes. So the potatoes have finished boiling, and they're perfectly soft and ready to be mashed. So I'm using my potato masher to slightly mash the potatoes up just a little bit. Next, I'm gonna add in the infused warm milk. Make sure it's warm. If it's not warm, just put it back on the stove for a little bit to warm it before you add it back into the potatoes. And with the milk, I removed the large stems of the herbs. There were any like small leaves in the milk. I leave it to add good flavor into the mashed potatoes, so only remove the stems. Okay, yeah, so add in the milk, and next I added in a few tablespoons of butter, and I'm also gonna add in some black pepper, salt, onion, and garlic powder. Taste the mashed potatoes as you're mixing everything together to see if you need to adjust any of the seasonings. So yeah, that's it, guys. So add in your seasonings, make sure you add your butter, your milk, and mix the mashed potatoes really well together. You could also even use a hand mixer to whip it and make it more fluffy. Sometimes I like to do that. And that's it. Cover it until you're ready to serve. So last for this meal, what I'm gonna show you is me making the garlic asparagus, and it's really easy. So I'm cutting off like about 2 to 3 inches from the bottom of the asparagus, and I'm gonna throw that away. And then we're gonna, in a pot over medium-high heat, we're gonna add in some oil. Next, I minced up some garlic, and I'm gonna add that into the pot, and I'm gonna let that saute for about 1 minute because you don't want the garlic to burn. And next, add in the asparagus. So add in the asparagus, and then you can season it a little bit with salt and black pepper, and just let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes depending on how you like your asparagus. So if you like it on the crispier side, you won't leave it for too long. If you like it a little more soft, you would leave it a little bit longer. And that is it, you guys, on this recipe. So all that's left to do now is to plate your food and serve your dinner. So I'm putting my mashed potatoes onto my plate. Next, I'm gonna add in my steak, and then I'm gonna add on my garlic asparagus, and then we're gonna dig in, guys. So yeah, that is it for this recipe. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you give it a try. And thank you so much for watching and supporting, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.